Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. Today is going to be such an exciting day because, well, would you take a look at what's to my left? We have the new body style BMW M3 Competition. Now, this is actually different than the M3 Competition you saw us review on the channel recently, and you guys loved that video, blew up. This is rear-wheel drive versus the X-Drive Competition that we drove. So today in this video, we're going to find how the rear-wheel drive version actually stacks up to the all-wheel drive X-Drive. That's the code name they use. Interesting choice of words. This should be technically lighter, so I cannot wait to see how it actually performs and feels. I am honestly such a big fan of this new body style for the M3s, and you can really deck these things out with options such as these amazing laser headlights that have the blue accents all throughout the tail. You don't actually look directly into them. Nonetheless, this version has all the extra carbon fiber pieces equipped all throughout the vehicle. One thing I do want to point out is this paint job. Watch what happens when I back up. See how it's changing colors to a darker gray tone? Walk closer and closer to it, and you can see all the metallic flakes. You can see walking all the way around it. The finish with this dark gray / black metallic paint job and these red brakes all throughout. It looks extremely, extremely mean. A few other cool points to highlight. Check out that full carbon fiber roofline that comes with this package. I think that if you're buying an M3, you gotta max it out with all the extra carbon fiber bits all throughout, even to the diffuser down below. Look how aggressive this is. I think the biggest question here to answer today is, how does the rear-wheel drive version actually stack up to the all-wheel drive? It's an interesting dilemma, because on one end of the spectrum, you can get the all-wheel drive, the X-Drive, and make it rear-wheel drive, but you are adding extra weight. The weight difference is around 50 kilograms from what I read online. Woo, the hood is hot today. Man, California, it is burning up. At the track, it was like 105 degrees. Over here today, checking out this car, it feels like it's getting up there, definitely. But checking out the engine bay of the M3 Competition. Now, you do have the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder motor with 503 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque, roughly 30 more horsepower than a standard M3, and then 70 more pound-feet of torque than a standard M3. One big interesting question that the owner brought up to me is, why doesn't BMW offer a manual transmission in the Competition model? It's really interesting because you can get a manual in other versions, but this is the sportiest, most aggressive one, but you're stuck with the 8-speed automatic, and we no longer have the dual clutch, which at first I was pretty much against, but after driving the X-Drive, I realized how good this transmission actually is, especially for launching, and we're gonna get a feel for it again here shortly. One thing I really do like about the M3s, especially the Competition, it's that the chassis and the handling dynamics is a car that will give you loads of grip and not spin away like a brand new Charger, a Jailbreak or something like that. Well, those cars are very fun because that's the mentality that you're going after. This will give you loads of grip, but then when you want to have fun, turn off all those safety settings. This is still an M3 in the end of the day, which is why I always see them on the racetrack with owners sliding them around, drifting. And then for the contact patch, we do have P0 non-Trofeo Rs, so the R compounds will give you even a whole different level of grip, to be honest with you. 2 75s up front, 35 by 19s. Then out back, you have a taller wheel, a 20-inch wheel, with the same P0 tires. However, you have 285s. It's not the widest of rubber ever, but it should do a really good job putting down all 503 horsepower with this chassis setup, especially with the tuning that BMW integrates with these M-Series cars. One thing you can get are optional carbon ceramic brakes, which, you know, they're pricey, and if you want the longest lasting brake life possible, they will give them to you and they'll be lighter, but for track use, for hard driving, I would prefer these. Okay, here we go, getting inside the M3 Competition. Didn't shut the door all the way. I love this really cool two-tone style burnt orange interior with the dark gray black leather. The entire package with the carbon fiber everywhere and the official BMW colors, right? The 2 colors of blue and then the red, even on the seat belt, as you can see, it looks awesome. But we're here with the owner today Alex, how you doing, man?
Good,
Really appreciate you letting us experience and check out your M3. These things are just so much fun. I mean, the following behind the M3, even online, is just so huge. Everyone loves these cars. And with the new body style coming out, I just remember so vividly hearing reactions, right? Like, you remember reactions when like the bumper, the new clip was designed showing the taller kidney grille. People either liked it or they hated it. What was your impression right away?
My impression, I love the grill. Well, I put this car as a nickname, Sniffer.
Okay.
That's how I call it. I know 70% of my friends didn't like this car, but I love it a lot.
Man, it's I'm pretty pumped about it. Let's go ahead and go into drive. Right now we are in standard drive mode, correct, right? Yes. So let's get a feel for it. I know with the xDrive, the all-wheel drive version of the M3, I loved it a lot. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. And it felt not too much like an all-wheel drive car where right away turning into a corner, you can feel the negative characteristics of turning where it doesn't want to rotate. It felt pretty well tuned. This being the official rear-wheel drive one, it's gonna probably feel even better when it comes to how traditional and natural it rotates into a corner. Yeah, Alex, dude, I really do like the design inside this car because having these two red M1, M2 buttons, these are fully customizable, right? And
yes.
I think you told me M2 is your most aggressive setting.
Yes.
Well, when you go to the canyons like this to have fun, obviously put it into the most aggressive setting. So let's just skip all the way to a race mode essentially with the first stage of traction control off. Confirming it again. Yes, I think we know what we're doing. I love that display, by the way, with the G-forces showing you the PSI for the turbo system, right? It feels very lively. When the turbos get spooled up, the acceleration really picks up. It doesn't feel like a typical sedan on the road. It's the personality of the competition of the M3 series is fully here with this model. And being rear-wheel drive, I can tell how the back end has more personality to rotate directly into a corner. Sound-wise, yeah, it's not gonna sound like the traditional M3s of the past with the V8s and so forth. We're going into a new generation. And with that being said, we don't have the dual clutch. But for being an automatic that's more traditional, it shifts very quickly. Let's try to do a full throttle pull with the turbos spooled up. So about 4,000 to 5,000 RPM, pretty much clear. Fully puts the rubber down onto the road, literally, with the heads up in the middle telling you when to shift. Very similar to my C8 Corvette. The car feels like a driver's car. It's very driver-centric, and to be honest with you, I think it feels different than the xDrive. I drove the xDrive on these same exact roads, and I made sure to try to get this car on the same roads again to feel back-to-back how they would compare. Overall, it is lighter. I don't think you'll tell with the weight per se, because 100 pounds here and there with versus, all-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive, it's not too noticeable. Going to their track display. To the left-hand side, we have our G-force indicator. Wow, that is so cool. So the RPM comes up on both sides. So all you're focused on is watching that RPM for accelerating. So let's get a feel for this thing in the corners, right? So again, rear-wheel drive with the drivetrain set up for this BMW M3. It is cheaper than the xDrive. Starting price is 72 grand. The chassis composure in the corners, I mean, the suspension itself, it's not the most aggressive, but with the softness, it does rotate really well into the corners, trail braking in, getting good front end grip, having that 3-liter inline 6 in front of you. You've got that extra weight to help with the initial turn in, and I can easily see how you can kick the tail end out whenever you want to have more fun, but the turn in feel, I think, just wants to turn so hard. This thing is so playful. The biggest smile on my face right now. I don't know how it's so agile for weighing 390 pounds plus 2 people in here. This thing is just, it's not a handful when you kick the tail end out. the experience of grabbing it back is so easy. Not just that, the chassis is very communicative, so that when I'm going into a corner and I'm about to kick that rear end out, I can feel it the entire time. And that slip is nicely controlled, I think, even with the traction all off. It's not gonna snap and give you snap oversteer. Some cars, they do that. With this, you can just give it throttle, and the computer systems, I think, or just the way it's tuned, it really does a great job holding the entire car together. All right, so how do we enable launch control with this model?
So hold the brake.
Hold the brake. Got it.
Second, all the way to the bottom.
Preparing. Shifted for me, I thought just now.
I completely forgot to say that when you launch it, the car will shift by itself.
So second gear, foot down the brake hard, foot down the gas hard, automatically turns on launch control, and then let's do it. Well, I think we just roasted the tires instead. It's overall such a fun package. I completely understand why the following is so massive for these cars, because the versatility they offer, and for the price, if you can get an MSRP deal or find one that you can spec out yourself, make it however you like, I think it's a great car to get. And the choice between xDrive and rear-wheel drive, at first I was under the impression just go xDrive all the way, but there are key benefits to either drivetrain configuration. Yeah, the xDrive is faster, 0 to 60 and so forth, accelerating with the specs of data, but the driver feedback with the rear-wheel drive is a ton of fun. At the same time, you can still turn the xDrive into a rear-wheel drive based setup. I can't recall when I drove it. Didn't feel like this either though. Let me know if you've driven the rear-wheel drive only M3 and then the xDrive with the rear-wheel drive setting enabled. Well, what was your impression of how they compared? To me, I still feel like this felt more agile and more like a rear-wheel drive car. It still kind of felt like an all-wheel drive car to me in the other version, but it's really hard to break that down. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Which one would you rather get? The xDrive with that versatility of having the fast acceleration with the grip and then being able to turn on rear-wheel drive, or do you want your experience to always be rear-wheel drive centric? By the way, make sure to give Alex a follow on Instagram. That is Alex Bright. I'll have his username floating up on the screen right now. Major thanks to him for letting us experience and check out his car. And question for you though, man, are you gonna track this sometime or what?
Definitely.
Definitely?
Yeah.
I think it would come alive out there. You got to.
I would track it right now, it's just kind of too hot.
It's a bit too hot, and then if you do track it, put on some R compounds for extra grip, and then even the breakaway with the stickier track tires would be even more fun, in my opinion. Please let us know again your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Also subscribe for much more great content coming out your way. I'll see all of you in the next episode.